I
Your
love it.
lessons right now, it's not just one, not one lifetime. Why it becomes a roller coaster now? Because it's a opportunity for this timeline that they can compress multiple lives of lessons into one.
Am I
Hi,
doing?
welcome everyone. I would like to welcome to the show Dina, who is a galactic dragon artist and a channeler. And she channels a lot of ascended masters, dragons, and collectives, different collectives or groups as well. And hi, Dina. I'm glad you're here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so honored. I'm so grateful.
Thank you. So, for my initial questions, like, how did your spiritual awakening started, or even what also triggered it?
Well, okay, great question. So interesting enough, I had a spiritual awakening in my early 20s that came from after a car accident. And so I fell asleep at the wheel and I left my body. And I came back and then I didn't really realize what was happening as far as until later. And because all these new drawings were coming out of me and that were really different, the beings that were coming through. So fast forward, I was came back from Italy, graduated college, and I was already I was really blending in with my art. So like it wasn't an obvious thing until later on. I was living in New York City and I was getting to be really depressed and all my paintings were really dark.
Wow.
And like, what's going on here? And what's really funny because I also was like, I wanted to get myself out of that depression. And I started noticing that I would think of someone and then they would pop up around the corner. So that led me to like, what is synchronicity? What is this? And then I wound up getting the book Celestine Prophecy, which really started to open my eyes. So then later in the years, about 2019, I found myself depressed again and being like, what is going on? Why do I keep feeling like I'm a victim? Like again, and I wanted to do something to change my mindset. And then all of a sudden I was like, okay, I want to change. I want to transform out of this. I want to heal from this. And okay, I want to start. And I was being introduced to a lot of spiritual information. And all of a sudden I was like, okay, well, someone said to me, what brings you joy? And I had taken a long period from painting and away from painting. And I was like, oh, painting does. So when I went to sit down to paint again, I set the intention that I was going to start healing. And then I wanted to bring that healing into the artwork and then teach others how they can heal through art. And when that intention was set, it was like, boom. Then it was like a really big spiritual opening, but it was like it started when I was in my 20s.
Okay. My other quick question is like I got curious on the out of body experience. Let's go back a little bit. I'm sure the audience will be like, "Oh, what did you see on the other side?" Because everyone is like, "What is life after you're dead?" Or because I think I have the answer for that one because I have out of body experience as well, and that's another story for another session. But what did you see on the other side, and how did you pop back off? Or did you have memories on that time?
So what happened was I didn't even know that I left my body until I woke up to the sounds of screaming in my ear. My grandma, one of my grandmothers had died the week before. So I don't remember seeing anything at the time. However, I remember hearing them waking me up. And then when I later went back to be like, what really happened then it was able to unpack that I left my body and I went and I spoke with a council, and then it convinced me to come back into my body and continue living. I didn't want to, I was like, I'm done. Like, that time when I had the car accident, I was like, nah, I don't want to go back.
Also, you went back like to see what happened there, right? Again, like
Later, I
is that
went back
is
to
that
unpack.
some kind of meditation or it's just
I
a
had
skill?
someone walk me through it. I had someone help me go into my akashic records at that time, and now I can like visualize it. But it was that big, that was that wanting to unpack like what happened, like how can I fall asleep at the wheel, unpack, like somehow I uprooted three trees and wound up at the edge of the cliff. And so here's the cliff, and here's the highway. Up the cliff, uprooted three trees, headed back to the cliff again. And I woke up like here, me in my car, here's the cliff.
Oh boy.
And so when I got later, I don't remember any visuals other than me speaking to a being, and that's it. So yeah, but
I also sorry for cutting you off. Go on.
yeah, and no, they convinced me somehow. They convinced me that I had more to do and return back into my body and go forth.
Oh boy. So when you good thing you're lucky, yeah. So you I also know that you are Akashic record reader.
Yes.
And tell me more how you got exposed to that and how you started reading and everything.
Okay, I love it. So, for a period of time, right before I started painting, I was really into network marketing, and I was on this journey of sharing a network marketing company that was all about health products. And so, through the training, I went to an event, and at this event, I met a woman. That woman, she and I connected. It's so funny how I hear myself telling a story. But it was so funny that I met this woman that was lived near me, but she was living in Hawaii. And when she returned, she invited me to an event. And when I went into this event, a cacao ceremony, all these things happen in a cacao ceremony. And then the next time I saw her, she said, "Hey, Dina, do you want to learn how to go into your Akashic records?" And I'm like, "Yeah, of course I do." So she was is a professional Akashic record reader. And we sat there and she gave me the prayer to say, and I went into her Akashic records like that. And I was like, whoa. It was really wild because I didn't realize I could do that. And I felt like she felt that I could. And so ever since then, that first day, and whatever came through was really aligned for her. And I kept doing it. We kept practicing and practicing. So for like 2 years, it was just her and I. And I
Wow.
just kept going with it and practicing. And eventually, light language came in and it evolved.
So on Akashic Records, it's different for everyone, right? It's like how you channel or how you have different clairs. Like everyone have clairs, but we have our dominant one, right? So in Akashic Records, because I'm more visual, I see it more as a mental image, sorry. But how about you? Because I'm assuming because you're an artist, you're visual as well, but I'm still curious
It's
on.
both.
Oh,
Yeah.
there you
I
go.
don't mean to interrupt you. So, claircognizance, the clair knowing, is actually my strongest clair.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I will know it, then I'll see it.
Oh, wow. So more like intuition. There you go.
Yeah. So somehow it's just like, and then I have the clairsentience, so I will feel like if it's correct. And so it's really wild. It's just and it's funny because even though I'm an artist, my third eye it's almost like it's black and then the vision. It's like I know it, I say it, and then I see it. It's
Okay. It's a process.
yeah.
Okay.
So I just do the minute. I started off. Oh, I didn't mean to interrupt. I get
No
too excited.
worries. No, go ahead.
So over time, I found myself taking people more on a journey than just reading and getting the messages. It became more of a journey and more of an empowerment journey because I felt such a gift of how she opened me up to being able to read records and go in there and access the information. I eventually received guidance in my own akashic records to make it more my own process. So I love the empowerment aspect of the Akashic records of not just telling people who they were, what is the significance of the information and how can it help them improve their life now?
I know. Because I do also my Akashic record readings as well. And my next question is will be like, because I'm a visual as well on Akashic records. Well, yours like processed differently. But what is the weirdest records or libraries that you have seen?
You know what's so funny? Because is the weirdest thing I've seen in someone records? That's a really hard question to ask because I'm like trying to remember because it's so funny how much I
Just
don't.
something like not ordinary, because some people just say it looks like a library, some people becomes like there's like a console, like a computer,
Oh,
something like that. So what kind of, because sometimes when you access let me explain that, because on my process when I access the library, when I do my initials, so when I'm trying to access the library, I go to my own room and I connect my Akashic library to their library and access what they're trying to say. But on my Akash, where I'm connecting, I'm touching a crystal, more like a, what do you call this? It's like I'm not sure why it looks like that. My library looks like a crystalline something
oh,
and something
interesting.
like that.
Please excuse the beeping.
No worries.
Um, what's really interesting is that every time I go into someone's records it's a little bit something different. Like sometimes it's a cave. Sometimes it's a cave with multiple dragons. Sometimes it's a rose temple, and then there's like a sacred water thing in there. Like, and it just keeps getting, and then they'll like be like, okay, now you're going to like take a leap and your dragon's gonna and you're just gonna get on your dragon and then your dragon's gonna take you back into your body. Like it's just always different. And sometimes even like bringing them like into the water and then they wind up like turning into different versions of themselves.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
It's kind of like a guided meditation.
I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, and then it's like they wind up like having me take them through these different steps, and I'm like, okay. So it's like, oh, okay. So you're gonna become this tiny being, and then you're gonna drop through your heart, and there's a little door that's gonna take you into your womb space, and then there's another door, and that's gonna take you into the big ocean, and then you're gonna become a mermaid.
Oh boy.
Yeah, stuff like that happens.
Oh boy. So my next question will be like, how did you or when did you come out of your spiritual closet? And how and what happened to your surroundings, your friends, your family, everyone around you?
I feel like when I really started coming out of the spiritual closet is when I came out with speaking dragon light language. And because I was connecting with the dragons, and I was like, okay, we're gonna do this. And surprisingly, I don't feel like I lost a lot of people. However, my family members were like, what? I don't know how to make that beeping stop.
It's okay.
Um, it was interesting because I had a much more positive response, except for when I went into TikTok. And I started doing TikTok a little too early. TikTok wasn't ready for spiritual awakenings when I first went in. So I'm trying to remember, what was the question again? It was really interesting because I reached a point where I was like, you know what? I am, and I'm already been like kind of known as a little different and weird anyway. So
It's great.
people weren't really that surprised, you know what I mean? So it wasn't like a big coming out. It was
Okay.
kind of me just being more of me, and me speaking more light language, me talking about the dragons. It seems so long ago that I'm just like, it was interesting because I think that in fact my authenticity really was very engaging. So I feel like I had a really good response to it.
That's nice.
And if anyone left, I didn't notice.
Well, they just vibrate out of your energy.
Yeah.
So, yeah. What
And
so oh, go
yeah,
ahead.
I was gonna say, and even on this being once I was like spiritually out, uh, and I noticed that like even some spiritual friends were like, that's too much. Your energy is too much for me. And I'm like, anyway, that's not
It's
that
all good.
exciting a story.
So, my other question is like, is there a time that you receive guidance, but you're hesitant to do it, but when you actually did, it turned out into a wonderful experience?
Okay, can you repeat the question one more
Like,
time?
is there a time that you receive guidance from your guides, higher selves, that you're hesitant to do it, but when you did it against your will, it turned out into a wonderful experience?
Huh. Feel into that. You know what's so funny? Well, A was when I started to show up. That was being encouraged by the dragons to do videos of me painting live. And I
I
was
think I
like,
saw that video.
and it was like, yep, you're gonna do paintings live, and you're just gonna share, and you're gonna speak light language. And I'm like, really? People are gonna watch that? Okay, I'll do it. And yeah, it wound up going really well. And uh, some people watched and they were really happy, like really received it. And it's funny because I don't do it as often as I'd like to do it. But yeah, it was good. But at first I was like, I don't know if I want to speak dragon light language and do this all at the same time. It's like too much. It might be too much, but it was fine. So I'm always happy. Like, yeah, I'm always happy once I listen. But sometimes
So,
it's
what
fine.
happened? I think you were well received after that.
I was. And you know what's funny? Because by doing that, more people were gravitated towards me that wanted to connect with me. And then I feel like from that, like I wound up connecting with even more soul aligned
Hmm.
people. And just just amazing because then I started meeting all the other light language practitioners like Deb Clark and like so many other people that
Hmm.
I wound up meeting in a process that helped me along the way and supported me and really challenged me, like Deb Clark getting me to do the live art and
Oh, wow.
readings. And I was like, really? I don't know. Can I really do that? Like,
You're battling with your imposter syndrome.
yeah, yeah, there's been a lot of that. And then I go, okay, I'm just gonna do it. I'll trust myself, I'll trust the inner guidance. And it always goes so much better than I could have even imagined.
Mhm. So, I heard you also have a book coming up this March, like tomorrow per se. So, can you tell me more a little bit about that one without spoiling it? Or like what the audience can expect about it?
Well, it's definitely a book to support those on the journey of transformation. And it's a beautiful, magical book that involves three divine souls that we all met. We're all connected. And we found each other through various ways that was very synchronistic and unexpected. And so, one thing I will share is that I met Rochelle through a networking call, and we just knew that we had to do something together. And I met Lily through the light language community, and they had met through the light language community. And then the three of us, like, through the process, which is said in the book, we wound up bringing our three gifts together. Rochelle channeled messages, and at a time that I was painting, and my paintings linked up with her messages. It's a very multidimensional, special book, and
That's
that's
not.
all I'm gonna say about it.
Okay. I'll have the link in
Anything
the
else?
show notes later on.
Yes, yeah. I mean, we're
Yes.
we're still in the pre-launch phase, and but it's coming out. Yeah, tomorrow's March 1st, and so it's coming out, very soon. So
Yeah, will you be able to supply the link on your book ahead of time or not yet until
not yet,
then
not
I'll just keep me posted on the link so I can put it
yes.
in the show notes. So
Okay, sure.
with what's happening on the world today, like differently, where do you think the world is heading?
A
Let
lot
me
of
rephrase that one, because we have our own timelines. Where do you think your timeline, your world's timeline is heading at the moment?
hmm. I really feel like my timeline is headed to a lot of co-creation, a lot of collaboration, and really focusing on creativity, anchoring in more heaven on earth, more people that are really coming together and having awakenings and wanting to do good in the world. And I just feel like there's a lot more people that are coming together to make positive impact
Mm-hmm.
amongst a lot of things that are might seem scary but are not in the long run. So I feel like there's also that division happening where many of us are making choices that are soul aligned, and we're more of us that are coming together to bring about positive changes.
Yep. So my next question will be
Yeah.
uh it's like how can we find peace in turmoil or uncertainty?
Meditation. Well, for me, it's art.
Oh yes,
For
technically.
many of us, it's art. Meditation. I
Mm-hmm.
really feel like being because really peace is from within.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like taking the time to go into meditation is so where we find our peace, because it's definitely not outside of us. So, finding ways to go within and to call in the higher guidance to assist with that, connecting with that peace. So sometimes it's calling in Yeshua, sometimes it's calling in your higher self. It's depending on whatever the person goes to for their spiritual connection, I feel.
Yeah, and also when you find peace, the universe will keep on saying yes, right? So when you keep on holding on to anxiety, stress, and negativity, then the universe will also say yes. Because
Yeah.
how you treat yourself and how you act on the outside, your universe technically. say yes to that and it reflects back at you. So when you finally get tired of it and suddenly, oh, fine, I'll just surrender and find my inner peace and do things that will help me improve that one, then suddenly universe started to give you a feedback
Yep.
that, this is what you're trying to manifest, then, and this is what you're doing, then this is, I'll give it to you. And
Right.
one example is that one compared to that one's like, one person's like, we don't have money. Then how can we buy that? Then suddenly people, universe will say, okay, let me take more of your abundance away. Make you more, no money, right? Then suddenly, instead of approaching that, most of us manifest, right? Our words, our thoughts, our actions dictates on how we create our reality, right? So when I do it, I was like, I'll afford you not right now, but sooner or later. But when I get up something that I could afford you with, then one thing, I'll give you something. This one is I can't remember the name for it. Geode.
And an agate. It looks like an agate,
It's like a
please.
geode or something.
Yeah.
Oop, there you
Yeah.
go. And I saw one of these big ones, and I was like, oh, I really want that one. But I checked the prices. Oh my god, it's expensive. And I was like, I'll afford the next time if I get a chance. Then suddenly I get into a guide. They gave me like, go to this store. Then I saw it. It's a little bit just damaged. Then I said, that's repairable. How much is it? Oh, $5 for just that piece. And normally that's 100, $200 piece because it's huge. Because $5 is just this small. And suddenly, okay. So that's how I started my manifestation. And I have a lot of that as well. So
Oh my
sorry, I
God.
got off track.
Oh
And
no, I love it.
yeah, and I have a lot of stuff. And also, let's go back to it. So the other thing is that for me, art is like you get into the zone of it, right? And you access your dormant artistic side. So technically, more of us are technically programmed by current society to do the calculative, logical side, like work 9 to 5, do that. So we start to go away from our artistic side, like music, art, and everything that we create. And that's, I think, where we're going back again. And so that's why I appreciate camps or services or workshops like you who create space for people to go into and rediscover their art and probably discover their higher self and channel it. And because I also know that when you channel higher self, suddenly, oh, I draw my higher self. Then people were like shocked that, so this is how my higher self look like. One thing I could be put a point on art, why higher self drawing sometimes are important is that there will be a time in your spiritual awakening that you have to embody your higher selves to anchor all of their energy to this plane. And sometimes when you do that, I'm trying to bribe them now, right now. So sometimes their gifts, their abilities, their talents, you get to access them, even
Yeah.
their abundance, even their manifestations. There you go. So, and the more you can visualize how your higher self feel everything, um, the more you can anchor them in. So
Yep.
that's one or how I interpret art in this spiritual awakening because some people can create sounds. Now they're visualizing for hearing that you can hear your higher self through this melody. It elevates your emotions. You go to that higher vibrational state. So that's how I'm just trying to relate art with this one. So because they're technically not separate. They're
Right.
yeah. Yeah.
Well, interesting enough, I didn't realize it at first. I started painting my higher self in different emanations. So a lot of the portraits that I have painted, they're versions of my higher self. And the reason why, and it's funny because now in discovering that, it helped me really develop a different relationship with myself in the artwork because I realized that I was already saying that we're multidimensional beings living in
Mhm.
a human existence. And then the artwork literally manifested the proof of that.
Yeah, I agree.
And so I do the art because I love it, and it brings me so much joy, and it brings me connection with all that I am. And so I love teaching that to others because I feel like so many people are looking for ways to connect.
Rediscover themselves.
Yes, to rediscover, to connect with themselves, to rediscover their creativity, because a lot of people, they have scars from their childhood where maybe someone told them that they're not a good artist because of whatever they were taught and
Mhm.
what good art is. And that's not really true. And there's so many different ways that we can express that wants to come through us that's like beyond our physical body that can come through from our higher self. And our higher self's like, yeah, let's have some fun. Let's do
They're
this.
very expansive.
And then and so when my friend Jen, who I was doing a lot of channeling with when I first was in a light language activation course, she was like, Dina, I see you're painting your higher self. Will you paint my higher self? And I'm like, let me have a go at that. But I never would have thought to paint someone else's higher self if she hadn't asked me to. So I thought that was really, really interesting how spirit comes in and like
I know.
other people ask me to do things because I respond to invitations. You invited me to be
Mm.
here with you today. I would have never thought to ask you to be because I don't do that anymore. I don't invite myself to other people's things. I wait for invitation.
Well, there's no such thing as coincidence, everything is in the divine plan. And I invited quite a few, and you said yes, then that means we intersect.
Yes, and
There
I
you
love it
go.
when you come to the dragon ceremonies too.
I'm sometimes I don't really know that there's a ceremony, then they're just like, check your phone. Okay, log in.
You're meant to be there, you
Yeah.
know? You're meant to each one is different and it's all made up of the people that are meant to be there.
Yeah. Oh, some of your higher selves are revolting.
What
Let
was that?
me, some of your higher selves are revolting. They're
Oh,
saying they're not, they want you to clarify the versions, different versions of higher self. Is it different per dimension or different per realm or just one? Well, technically, all higher self is just one, but when you say that version, is that coinciding like different dimension and different planes of existence? They just want to
you
expand
know,
on that.
I haven't I have to feel into that. I feel like it's different emanations, but maybe it's also different emanations of different lifetimes. So, like in one, for example, one painting, I have a blue avian version of me.
Is that the one on your back?
This one?
Yep.
Oh no, this one's a dragon painting, dragon portal painting.
It looks like a dragonoid or a blue avian.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, I feel like everybody sees things differently. Oh, like right here? Yeah. I'm gonna tune in more into this because I feel like like I go in and I channel messages from them and when I feel called to and get different things. But this one I haven't done a full channeling from yet.
Okay.
Now you're reminding me. Thank you. And I feel like it's like different ways of presenting different versions of myself from different lifetimes and different dimensions. So, but it's all I feel like coming through from my higher self is the one that's directing it.
Okay, so technically the one you're saying, the calling the higher self is technically your oversoul. When I say oversoul, it's your primary higher self, the one
Yeah.
who's big
Right.
I.
And is it possible that I could have multiple higher self versions of me
Mm-hmm.
that are like, so like if I have multiple lifetimes all happening at the same time, which we all do,
Mm-hmm.
then each one of those versions of myself in the different timelines and dimensions could be having its own representation of a higher self.
Yep.
And then above that is the oversoul.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, really great question. Thank you for asking that because I
They
never,
go ahead. They want
I
me to say
I don't
something as well.
know.
They
What?
said they want me to say something as well.
Okay.
This is something to do with because right now Earth is like a Harvard level 99 nightmarish. So every soul in here are technically high level per se. They just don't realize it and they just see themselves as small. But in the spiritual awakening, after you graduated Earth school, you become a higher self yourself because you are reconnecting back what normally people who couldn't connect back in their lifetime. So technically, you can be termed as an ascended master later on. So that's what they are telling me that like you have to do a good job because well technically your lessons right now. Do I have to say that? Okay. Because
I
your
love it.
lessons right now, it's not just not one lifetime. Why it becomes a roller coaster now? Because it's a opportunity for this timeline that they can compress multiple lives of lessons into one. And that's one purpose. That's why sometimes a starseed or a light worker suddenly like, oh yes, I get it, this, then suddenly there's a problem or there's a opportunity to refine myself. Then suddenly, yes, I get it. I know it all. Then suddenly, oh, what's next? Another challenge. So it's not really to keep on kicking you back down because I have to say that one. Sometimes I stop them from keep on channeling. So I like because this is
Love
the
it.
one thing that I noticed about spiritual awakening. When you start to awaken, the first hurdle, the hardest that you have to overcome is your main lesson, your initial lesson that you came up. But after that, big book of the lesson, everything is just like this. It
Mm.
may drop you down like this, but it completely goes up very quickly. So it's not that hard. So everyone complete your lessons quickly and put your one step at a time as long as you keep on moving forward. That's fine. So let me go back with Dina here. I also heard your channel. So you had channel your higher selves, your dragons collectives, different collectives, galactic collectives, and everything. And is there a message from them for the human collective at the moment?
Let me tune in right now. Okay. And this might probably is also in light language as well, a little bit.
Go
So,
ahead.
Saiku ya ya shoya ania ba wa ya aya wa. So, the theme of the message for the collective is about finding your true voice. The importance of your voice is so much more than just speaking your truth. It's so much also about putting out into the universe how you truly want to live and how you truly want to serve, and also using your voice to make a difference in other people's lives with intention, and knowing the difference between the voice of your soul and the voice of your ego so that you can manage the terrain of your life and give yourself grace, as it's all lessons, it's all opportunities for growth. Knowing the true essence of your voice and how it can serve you will serve as a blessing through your life, because your voice is a gift. It's a gift of healing.
Thank you. That was beautiful.
Thank
So,
you.
my next question is, what is the nature of soul?
Mm. I don't, that's a really, I feel like the nature of soul is our eternal essence that travels, that shows up within, and it's also known as like, I feel our heart. That's not like an area that I usually think about talking, but if I want to tune in, I really feel like it comes down to our eternal essence and that we're like a spark of God or the God source, whatever you want to call that, that is experiencing life. And we have all these opportunities to experience different lifetimes to collect experiences and continue to give back and learn and be part of a bigger collective.
Beautifully said.
I don't really
So,
think about that. And I was like, oh, thank you for the question. I love that.
when you're channeling, are you fully aware or do you step back? You can't remember or
Okay, there are times where I can do the trans channeling. Although I do find that a lot of time, most of the time I'm still here.
okay.
But a lot of times, like just now,
Mhm.
like I felt like I was still here. I could hear my voice, but I could also hear that it was a different voice.
Mm,
And so what I do is I set the intention to bring forth the voice. And like a lot of times before I know I'm going to channel, I already set the intention to channel through my higher self. So, but a lot of times it's like it just comes through like as if it's like still me, Dina. I could still be channeling. You know what I mean? I could still be
mhm,
channeling, and you might not be able to tell the difference whether it's me, Dina, or another aspect of me coming through.
mm. So technically, the one that you channeled a while ago is your higher self. Oh, okay, that's cool. So, before
So,
we end the show,
yeah.
I would like to ask some more quick questions. So,
How am I doing?
you're all good. No worries. What does it mean for people to live authentically?
Authentically.
Yes.
Well, I feel like it's a journey for sure. It's multidimensional because on one level, it's doing what they say they're doing, right? And another level, it's speaking their truth and not pretending to be someone they're not. Another level is doing the work and at least working on themselves to discovering who their authentic self is so that they can live from that space of embodiment. And I feel being willing to take chances to really know who they really are and then taking the action that they're called to be taken. So if it means, it could mean like, okay, if you're a painter, if you're an artist and you're not painting, you're not doing what you love because you're afraid of what other people might think, then that could be like an area to work on to assist you with living your life more authentically because you're not doing the things that you're called to do.
Very well said.
Thank you.
So the next one is, what is the meaning of life?
Oh boy.
Because
You know,
I throw this question because there's a lot of people like, I'm a star seed, I'm an old soul, I'm tired of this, get me out of here. So now, what is the meaning of life?
to me, the meaning of life is learning how to embrace the gift of life, even through the difficult times, to find joy, to enjoy everything. And I feel like there is that school of thought of we're here to raise the frequency and help with the ascension. I'm so many variables, but for me, I feel like it's getting in your heart and really living from the heart and knowing what that's like, knowing what it's like to just live the best that we can, knowing who you are, getting to know who you are, getting to love yourself. I feel like for me, I feel like this life is a journey of love.
Yep, that's cool. So, where can people find more about you and the good things that you do?
I'm like, all of a sudden my nose is itching. It's so funny. I'm a lot on Facebook. I am on TikTok. I very grateful to say I'm on TikTok. People can find me as Solely Dina, SOUL.
I'll put it in the links, no worries.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm Solely Dina, LinkedIn, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. I have a link tree. I have a link tree too, which I can send you, which it's all there. I put all my
Okay.
stuff in my link tree until I have like an official website, which who knows when that'll be. So.
That's so good. So, tell me more about the like upcoming events and like services that you're offering now or in the future, and like what you're like what we were discussing about, like your book and everything, right?
Well, so I am creating some intuitive art class work experiences slash workshops, which right now I know there's one in February, February 17th. It's going to be a free one, really just more of like a basics, getting people started. I have continually love to paint people's higher selves and offer akashic record readings that go along with that. And I currently have lots of artwork that I am starting to put more and more on display. And we have the book coming out in March, March 20th, the equinox. And some of the services I love is also doing dragon paintings. And I'm currently right now offering these dragon sessions that come with paintings that I channel their dragon in a watercolor, and I have services around that where they can get the painting and then they can get activation session package that goes with that. So there's a lot, and
Yeah.
I'm constantly like I'm working on refining and like rewording my offerings right now. So whatever is there right now in Linktree could be it's going to be refined even more. So.
No, okay, that's cool. So, thank you for having me and for being in the show, Dina, and I'm glad that you're here.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I think your questions were awesome and I really appreciate your energy. Thank
You. Have a good day, everyone. Bye.
you.